For 300 years, the world thought I was a monster. A blood-drinking nightmare hiding in a ruined mill. Parents used my name to scare their children. Tour guides sold my story for souvenirs. But here's the truth. I wasn't the monster. I was the lock on the door. And yesterday, they broke it. If you've ever been blamed for something you didn't do, if you've ever protected people who hated you, then you're about to hear one of the most disturbing revenge stories you'll ever experience. Hit like, subscribe, and settle in. Because this story doesn't end with blood. It ends with justice. My name is Sava Savanovic. At least, that's what the legends call me. I'm writing this from a cafe in Belgrade. Bright lights. Warm air. The smell of burnt coffee beans. 3 lattes deep, and my hands are finally steady enough to type. Because for the first time in 300 years, I feel human. And that terrifies me more than the thirst ever did. You see, the stories say I was Serbia's first vampire. That I lived in an old watermill on the Rogasica River. That I killed farmers who came to grind their grain. They're right about one thing. I lived there. But they got everything else wrong. In 1720, I was not a beast. I was a merchant. The richest man in the valley. Silk coats. Gold rings. A house with glass windows when most families still used wooden shutters. And I fell in love. Her name was Milena. The daughter of a rancher. Sun in her hair. Dirt on her hands. Laugh like wind chimes. Her father despised me. You buy everything, he said. But you don't belong here. I begged. I offered land. Cattle. Coin. He spat in the dust and told me to leave. That night, I followed him to the river. Not to kill him. To beg again. But anger is a blade when you grip it too hard. We fought. I pushed him. He fell. And when his blood touched the riverbank, the ground drank him. Not like soil. Like a mouth. The earth rippled. The air stank of rot. And something under the mill woke up. It wasn't a vampire. It had no shape. No face. Just hunger. Not for flesh. For life. It fed through roots. Through water. Through breath. I felt it claw into me. Not biting. Invading. My veins burned. My bones screamed. My heart stopped. And restarted wrong. And suddenly I could feel it. The thing beneath the river. A sickness that wanted to crawl into Zarazja. If it reached the village, everyone would become like me. Empty. Thirsting. Not alive. But not dead. So I did the only thing I could. I made a deal. I stayed. I fed it through myself. I became the filter. The peasants who came to the mill. I didn't hunt them. I scared them away. Howls. Shadows. Blood on the stones. And when some stayed too long, when their eyes went dull, when their veins started to darken, I ended them. Quickly. Not to feed. To prevent infection. They called me a vampire. I let them. Because a monster with a name is better than a plague without one. For 300 years I listened to songs about my evil, stories about my curse. Children dared to walk near my mill. Priests threw salt and crosses. And under it all, the thing screamed, pressing upward, trying to reach the surface. I held it back until the mill collapsed. 3 years ago, a construction crew arrived. Concrete trucks, drills, laughing men in orange vests. They didn't know. They thought it was folklore. I tried to warn them. I carved messages in the wood, left blood marks on the stones. They filmed TikToks instead. And when they tore the last foundation out, the screaming stopped. Not because it died, because it escaped. Now I walk the city. No burning skin, no thirst, but I see things. Shadows that move wrong. Pavement veins pulsing. People coughing black mist. The thing is spreading. Not by bite. By ground. And here's the revenge. I let them see me. I walked into a government building. I showed them the soil samples. I showed them the bones under the mill. I showed them what happens when the ground feeds. They laughed. Until the first official collapsed. Until the cameras caught the shadows climbing his legs. They begged me. You're the vampire. Fix it. I smiled for the first time in centuries. I was never the curse, I said. I was the cork. They brought me back to Zarazja. Military trucks. Scientists. Priests. I stood where the mill had been. The ground was breathing. And I stepped into it. The hunger rushed back into me. The pain was fire. But I dragged it down. Locked it inside. And then, they poured concrete over me. Not as a prison. As a seal. The village will build a monument there. A fountain. Tourists will take photos. And for the first time, the legend will protect them. They spent centuries calling me a monster. But when the real horror came, they needed me. Maybe revenge isn't about destroying your enemy. Maybe it's about proving you were never the villain. If this story gave you chills, hit like and tell me in the comments. Was this revenge or sacrifice? And if you want more dark, emotionally charged revenge stories, subscribe now, because some monsters are the only thing keeping the world alive.